Officially retired at 54, but it's a trap. Yeah, I'm going out for my regular stroll here today. As you can see, I've got this great little spot that I like to walk and reflect and think about it. Now, I've been retired since 53. I'm 54 now, and realistically, this all came to about at the end of February. So at February 28th, to be exact, I officially or formally became retired. Now, have you ever heard the adage, hurry up and wait? Because that's often what it feels like, rushing through life, thinking, pumping up your 401ks, putting all this money into savings, retirements, doubling down for your pensions, and putting money aside, paying off your debts, your cars, your houses, all just to hurry up and wait. Now you're retired, like I am. And what do you do with that time now? So you spend your whole life buzzing around like it's going out of style. There's another phrase I like to coin, or we've probably heard it before, so I won't necessarily coin it. But it's life's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so ultimately what it means is, why sprint through life just to hurry up and then finish the finish line and then stand there waiting? You know, the old tortoise and the hare? Yes, that is truer, never been truer. No words have truer been spoken than that. Because here we are, I'm now 54, retired, and trying to keep myself busy. Now, I know I've personally experienced this. I've seen this in the past. My father had a similar situation. He retired. He didn't know what to do with himself. And then he ended up going back to work. He didn't do it so much for the money. He did it because he was bored. He retired. He went golfing for a year or so. And then shortly thereafter, just realized, you know what, he was driving everybody nuts, and he himself was driving himself nuts, so he decided to go back to work. But this isn't an uncommon phenomenon. And so I've always believed, as I sail into retirement, and you'll probably talk to a lot of people, that the last thing you want to do is settle in, hit that rocking chair, and watch the paint dry and count the days going by. It's the last thing you want to do. So I came up with another little, how do I say, not a hobby, but I've been sort of transitioning for some time now. And I've been working on a bit of a pet project, and I truly believe you need something. You need something not just to keep you busy, but absolutely a plan, a long-term plan that's sustainable. And this is what I've been working on for actually quite a few years. And as you can see, I got my coffee. That's always part of the plan. Go for a walk, grab a coffee. Oh, look, we have some broken glass over here. That's not ideal. But you know what? In sandals, it's always a good day. Sandals and shorts always feels so right. When you're out walking around, the sun's shining, it's a gorgeous morning, absolutely perfect. And this is the part that I really, really lather in this whole game of retirement. It's, you know, there's those days when you're working and you're out rushing around and you know, you're moving mountains and you're doing all these big things, spectacular. By coffee, like they say, you've done more by coffee time than most people do all day. And that was very much sort of how I lived my life. It was very high stress, high pace, very safety sensitive. I had a lot going on. I had a crew, and it was a very, very busy time. Very busy. And so you go from that to nothing, hit the brakes instantly. It's like driving a Ferrari or an F1 car coming up to that last sharp corner where you have to pretty much stand on the brakes. Well, this is kind of what it felt like once I hit February 28th. And so, you know, you come from a place where you're just moving around, buzzing, moving, hustling. Life's on, you're on top of the world. You feel like you're a major part of that cog in that wheel, to nothing. That wheel's still turning somewhere else, but there's a different cog there now. And so this is just how life goes when you retire. You quickly realize that as important as you maybe thought you were, or important your work was to you, none of it really matters. I mean, it does. I mean, there are people that like to leave legacies behind, and certainly, you know, have their name on a crest or on a stamp or on a post or a pedestal, or, you know, have written some special document or have done some major change in their industry and become some breakthrough, you know, technology and done some amazing things. And there's many, many people like that. But for the vast majority of people, 98% of people out there, you get into your career, you roll through it, you hum, you drum, you get it done, and then it's time to retire. Very anticlimactic, if you can say. And so that's basically what I'm experiencing. A world where, I did all those things. It was busy, it was intense, and I made some change. As I mentioned in my other video, and I'll link that in the end, I had some major change in the industry, and I feel like I did some great things for the benefit of others, certainly to help people and keep people safe. But here I am. I don't have that anymore. What I have now is a 9 to 5 of doing whatever, because the evenings are still, the family time, because everybody else is still going to school or work. But now, I have a situation where I've got to keep myself going and keep active, and I love it. I mean, like I said, look, we've got the sun shining up there, absolutely gorgeous. The weather could not be better. Again, short sandals, cup of coffee. I mean, what can be better than that, other than maybe driving a convertible Ferrari down the coast of Monaco? Maybe that might edge this out. But other than that, so I've had to transition a plan, and you need a plan. You can't just sit and watch the paint dry. You have to have something going on in your life. And so this is ultimately the trap. It's the trap. You hustle through life trying to get to this end point, and you think that's the end. I think that's just the beginning. Because whether you retire early or you retire late, whether you retire at 50, 60, 70, nowadays you hear more and more talk about, government's pushing people to retire at 70 or you don't get pensions and all of that. Regardless of where you're at in your life and what sort of stance you take there, you need a plan somewhere, it's some way, and unless, you wind up departing the planet sooner than later. Most people do get to enjoy some level of retirement in some capacity. Got to have a plan, and we always have to plan for that. Plan for the best case scenario, not the worst. And that's the way I've always seen it too. So here I am now, technically, birthday in June. I technically retired at 53. I'm now 54, but here we are, and having a plan, thinking about it. Now, this isn't just me walking around with nothing to do. For example, I always got projects, and I used to do a ton of things. I'd always have these tic-tac-toe. I've got this list of 10 items I've got to do this week that are above and beyond work-related. Well, today I'm not quite that intense, although I still live like that a little bit. I still plan my days, plan my weeks. The work I do is now a little bit more on my own project, my own time, my own dime, with my own new network of friends, because that's another conversation we're going to have in videos upcoming, are, your network, and how does that change as you sort of roll through, hang on. Itchy schnoz. I have bugs flying around. Whoa, what are they doing over here? Take a look. Painting that house. That's kind of weird. What's happening there? They got spray paint all over. I don't think it's graffiti, but there it is. Anyway, sorry about that. I just want to take you for these walks and kind of have these chats, but I will be sharing things along the way, because there's always, this is the thing with life, and this is the thing about retirement. You have a chance to start thinking about things that you never thought about. You get to focus on things you never focused on, because life's just a whirlwind sometimes. And once you retire, things slow down and you notice, oh, what's that rapper doing there? Oh, Elf. What is Elf? I wonder what that name brand is. You notice these little things, and you can't help but wonder, how much have you missed during your life as you hustled through life, being the, top pop, king of the castle at your job? You're now in retirement, and you have to do other things. You have to find other ways to keep yourself occupied. I've seen lots of people, retired folks, come back, go work at Home Depot, go work at places like the coffee shop like this, be a greeter at Walmart, whatever, you name it. People are doing things like that. Sometimes people just take up projects they just want to do gardening all of a sudden, or maybe they want to take up woodwork. I even know somebody that personally took up building hot rods, cars. And the only downside with that was I talked to the guy, he retired at 50, and then he ended up going back to work in his late 50s because he said he ran out of projects, did all the things that he planned to do, and he got them all accomplished, and he moved on. And so this is just sort of how life goes sometimes. You got to be fluid. Does it mean you indefinitely stop what you're doing? No. I think you just always got to have a bit of a plan, think about what you're doing, where you want to get to, and the last thing you want to do is sit around. Because I can't tell you how many people have seen health deteriorate after they sit around for 2 years and don't do anything. So, I mean, to keep active, keep healthy, because ultimately good health is everything. You know, I mean, to have money is great, but really your health is number one. Family, those are the important things in life. And so if you're not looking after your health, what do you have? So ultimately, keep busy, keep active. And that's the thing. So what I've elected to do was start, and I started this probably, I want to say probably 8 years ago, where I realized the work environment had changed. Things were shifting, and it's not what it once was. You know, conventional brick and mortar business, conventional hammer swinging, conventional trades, all those are all very important aspects because I sort of come from that type of area or industry. There's other things, and a lot of it's internet. So I started the transition, realizing, of course, that you can make a living, and you can do it from your own living room, from your own couch. You can do it from your own cell phone, which I'm using right now to film. So that's what I started about, actually, it wasn't 10, it was about 8 years ago. And I started down that path, realizing, of course, investigating, researching what is, needed to do that. And I found an opportunity. And so now I have, a situation where I'm able to transition into retirement with a focus. And that's the key here, a focus, a reason to be. But also able to monetize a little bit. It's not making anybody rich, but that's not the point. The point is more keeping busy, feel like you're part of something again, but you're doing it for you. And this is what I've always felt. Oh, look, we got roofing going on over here. Always something going on. But you know what? That's just the way I've always seen it, is keep busy, keep moving. And if you're feeling productive, you're feeling important. And I think that's the ultimate trap. Everybody feels like they've got to rush around all their life, do all these big savings, pay off all their debts to hit the quote unquote finish line and realize, well, wait a minute, that's just beginning. And that is, in fact, where people get trapped way too often, is they just don't get the fact that there's much more out there to do. And you know what, sadly enough, I've seen it. I've seen people fail time and time again. And this is just the things that I've learned along the way. So I've got a plan, go from zero to hero, back down to zero, so to speak. But I never really lost sight of the fact that I had a focus. I had a reason, and all of you can too. Everybody's got something that motivates you. And maybe it's not even something you even know about today. Maybe it's just something you figure out on the fly. I'm old school. Some would call me a boomer, although I'm not in that age group. I guess I'd be Gen X. But the reality is you learn as you go. This isn't a skill set that I was born with, and certainly probably took me a little bit longer to kind of ramp up the learning curve on that. But anybody can learn to adapt, figure it out, just come up with something that gets you out of the bed in the morning. And that's what I find is the most difficult. So as I mentioned, with the sun shining and a gorgeous day like we're looking at today, it's absolutely perfect because, days I think back when I was pounding out the 9 to 5 You roll into work, the sun's shining like this, but then you got to go into an air-conditioned office and hide under false lighting all for the next 10 hours. And you always, for me, some people don't care. I relish in sun, I relish in the outdoors, and just the smell of trees and plants and freshly cut grass like this is all just enough to keep me going, keep me motivated. And whenever I rolled into work and the sun was shining and was warm outside, I always tried to delay going into the office. I'd walk around outside for a couple minutes, maybe sit in the truck for a few minutes with the window rolled down, whatever it is, because I enjoy being outdoors. And this is, in fact, the beauty of being retired, is not having to be pushed into the office and actually enjoying the beautiful outdoors or the time you can spend with people that you care about. Definitely check it out right there, that other video. That's sort of how I got started into this whole game. Make sure you roll into that if you get a chance. But more importantly, I'd like you to drop a line. I want to try to learn. I'm getting this channel started. I'm very much focused and motivated to talk about my whole journey. Hope to see each and every one of you in the next one. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.